So today I'm going to show you how to make some outputs. So we're just going to do it from a basic standpoint, from a basic model. So we can just start off and just make something. Something very simple, so we can just see how it works. All right, so now we have our plane, and we're just going to make a plane exit. Okay. Right, so we're just going to make a plane exit over here. Like so. Yep. And so now we can see that the plane is all green, so you can travel, all the occupants can travel over it. So we're just going to use the defaults and make a quick evac with 100 people and using the new plane. So very simple. So the way you make the outputs is you come over here to outputs. And first you need to make a new one. And so I'm just going to say people in model or people on plane. And so what you got to do is once you have named your output, you're going to create a field. And I can show you how this works in Excel at the end. So for this, we'll say number people in plane. So you can either create variables using the outputs. I guess you have to get out of here. But you can create variables that you can use across your model if you have if you're using similar variables for different things, or you can just create them here by unchecking that L and making your own here. So you click the S to select a variable, and then you have this expression box here, you have an operation box here, and you have the time here. So then you go into info, and so we want to know how many people are on the plane. So we go to planes. We go to the new plane, which is the plane we just created. And then we say number of persons. And we say, okay, we don't need to do any operations because this will just be the number of persons that are on the plane. And we don't need to change the time because we want it to start at time 0. All right, so we say okay, so we have our variable. We have to add this field to the box, and then we can hit apply so that this output has this field, and that will show up in the CSV file. So what happens if you have multiple fields? So we'll say we'll just have an example where that has in and out, people in and out right next to each other, just so we can compare. So we'll say people in and out. All right, so we already have the number of people in the plane. Let's create a new one actually. All right, so we have the number of people in the plane, so we're just going to add a field that shows the number of people that have left the plane. So to do that, we have to change number of people that have left plane. I like to keep the names as simple as possible because it makes it easier in Excel. So when you come here, we should add the field. When you come here, you should delete the pre-existing thing here because it'll just mess it up. Then you come over to planes, new planes, and you say select the number of people that have left. As you can see, there's many different information. There's a lot of different information that you could look at. Anything from density to, you can look at door flows or queuing or usage. In the people, you can look at some of the times, what they're spending. You can break it down by people type as well. And look at the journey time or the distance. So there's just a lot of different options that maybe at some point you'll have to explore when you're in the field. But for now, we're just going to choose this simple one. So now we have a variable that shows number of people in the plane, and so we can kind of see it here. And then we have one that says number of people who left the plane. I did that wrong. People that have left. Okay. So now we have number of people that have left. And so we're going to hit apply on that one. I just like to check to make sure I have the right information down here, because sometimes it can get confusing when you hit apply and all that stuff. So then I'll hit apply, and that allows you to put the output. It saves the output with the fields that you just made. So okay. Now we're just going to save the model. I'll just save it on my desktop. And then we can hit go. All right, so then the people are moving towards the exit, and I think everybody's going to be able to exit. So we'll just speed it up and go into the console mode. All right, awesome. And so when we look on our desktop, you can see that we have the model that we saved. It has a log file, and then it has this CSV file. So if we open up the CSV file, all right, so we can see a couple different things. We can see the total evacuation time. That's always outputted no matter what you do. It shows the save location, the version of steps that you're using, the date and time. Oh, it's day, month, year. It shows which random seed that you used. I mentioned this in class. This one uses a really large random seed. You can choose to use a simple one if you want. So here, this shows the output for people on plane. And so it shows that initially there's 100 people on plane, which is good because that's what we put in. You always want to make sure that you put in the right number of people here, or this is what you thought that you put into the model. That goes down to 1 here. But here, when we did the people in out, since we used 2 variables, it aligns it right next to each other. So depending on how you want to make your graphs and things, it might be easier to have them line up right next to each other, or whichever way you want to organize it. But here we can see that it looks like that if we added both of these numbers, I think they should add up to 100 every time. Yep, it looks like I did that correctly, but so from this I think you should be able to make the graphs either number of people in plane or number of people have left. I would try to make it as similar as possible to what Pathfinder outputs, so you can have a semi-comparison of those two. But that's how you make the outputs. So